Hello there guys, and welcome back to Civilization 5 with Brave New World, playing as England. Hopefully we are going to manage to get our domination victory. Now a few of you, after watching the last video, rightly pointed out that I've got a few resources up here that I haven't done anything with yet. I've got some gems and some truffles, and I certainly would like to get a city built up here. Now normally by this point in the game, because we're already, almost 100 turns in, normally by this point in the game I would have had a second or possibly even a third city, because there are quite a few things around, gems and silver and such like. I decided not to actually go for a settler early on and wanted to get a bit of a boost to my forces. And I was hoping that I could take Edinburgh, which would have given me a second city very early on. Well, it didn't quite work out the way I intended it to. We can still catch up. This is probably the reason why we're so low on the scoreboard, because by now all of the other civilizations probably have 2, possibly even 3 cities. Even the Celts would have had 2 or 3 if it wasn't for the fact that I basically captured their settlers and put them into slavery. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to put all of my units on guard, get all the ones to heal up that can heal up. We're trying to get ourselves a couple of extra catapults that we can use, because that is certainly going to make life a bit easier in trying to take Edinburgh. But as soon as we have a couple of extra catapults, we are then going to get ourselves a settler. And at the same time, we also want to make sure that any military units that Edinburgh send out, and especially if they try and send out any settlers, that we take them out. That's what we want to do right now. So we've got trapping. I'm just going to have a quick look with my scouts. They're still out of range of the city, but I just want to keep an eye on them and make sure they're not trying to sneak anybody out on this side of the map. Not an awful lot that we can do right there, so let's just go on to the next turn. Probably is going to be a couple of turns of just clicking next turn, to be honest, because it's unlikely that we're going to have a lot going on. We know we've got some barbarians over here on the right hand side that we could deal with later, but let's sort out the Celts first. Now, are we healing up here? Very slowly. Okay. 1 turn away from producing another catapult, which is fine. We are healing up over here. She still wants a peace treaty. I'm going to actively refuse it. I could make peace and then just build up an army and then declare war again. There doesn't seem to be a lot of point in doing it, because by... Ooh, camera's going wild. By keeping things the way they are, she's probably going to keep making military units and sending them my way, and I will just keep farming them. So we're going to go for 1 more catapult, then after that we will get ourselves another settler. I'll probably settle it on this piece of land here. I know I talked on the last video about trying to make coastal cities on a hex that only has 1 water entryway. But the point is, I mean, I could settle it down on a resource. If you put a city on a resource, you do actually get that resource instantly. But if I put it on here, it will actually give me enough reach to get the bananas and all of the other resources anyway. And I will be able to nab some of this land here, possibly. We've also got other possibilities later on. We could put another city down here and try and get this silver and iron. But we'll see what happens. We don't want to go too wild and have too many cities, not when you're going for a domination victory, because you soon end up with happiness problems if that's what you do. So we're going to start to move this catapult up. And we have now met the Austrians. Austria currently at the top of the scoreboard. Now we actually haven't got any ships in the water yet, but I'm not too bothered about that right now. Normally on a map like this, I would say get out there as early as you can and start to get some of the land explored so you can find places to settle. But that's not going to matter too much in a conquest victory anyway. What I am going to start to do is I'm going to move some of my units around to the side, just to make room for the catapults, so I can hopefully move them all in a single turn. She wants to give me money for silver. Well, let's accept that. It's definitely going to be nice to actually be in a positive moment with the gold, especially as we're building lots of military units, because they do have quite an expensive upkeep. So you guys can stay on alert. And let's go for the next turn. These catapults are very nearly in position.
Ich sehe, ihr bewundert meine
Yeah,
neuen
fine.
Palast.
Keep giving me gold for stuff. I'm more than happy with that. And just wait for everybody else to take their turn. Right, now then, let's start getting some of these units into position. We'll get one catapult over there. We will move this catapult into here. We've still got another catapult to wait for, of course. Now, we do know, or at least last time we looked, that they had some archers here garrisoned in the city. So we're bound to take some damage. But if we give them 3 catapults to fire at, it should make things difficult enough to help us out. So, let's get a settler on the production queue. Let's get our next catapult moved down here. And you're just going to finish healing up. You are going to just stay there for the time being. So, obviously we want to stay 3 hexes away from the city, because we don't want them to be able to attack us. And then, when we have all of our catapults 3 hexes away, we will move them all in on the turn before we're about to fire. So, just stay there for now. What I could do on the next turn, actually, and what I probably will do, is I will take my archers and move them across the river. What I should also do, actually... Can we do that with you safely? Let's go around this way. I'm going to move these guys around because you do need a melee unit to be able to take the city. And attacking across a river isn't a good idea, so I'm going to get these guys to come up on this side of the river. So let's get them moved around there. Somebody else has founded a pantheon. It's actually the Celts. +1 food for each banana, citrus, and wheat resource. That's not going to help you out too much in a turn or two. We've discovered horseback riding. Let us move this catapult into position. We can actually move it into this hex now that I've moved these guys out. So we have a new research to choose. Let's have a look at our tech tree currently as it is. Can't really go for compass or anything yet. It's far too far up the line. It would be quite nice to get engineering. We could move into currency, of course, and that would give us all a bit of extra cash. But we're going to go for construction because it would be really nice to get our longbowmen, which is one of our unique units. So let's get that done. Unit needs orders. These workers have now finished. We do have trapping, of course, but let's go down here and build some pastures where we have these sheep. Still got units needing orders. Yep, you guys are pretty happy with where you are there, so you can just stay there for now. Let's go on to the next turn. Obviously, we're going to have to do significant damage to Edinburgh before we can take it anyway, so I'm not too worried about the fact that it is going to take a turn or two for these guys to actually get there. This catapult... Right, who needs orders? You guys. It's because I moved my archers onto the space where I wanted them to go. We'll continue moving you around. And we will get everybody into position. Now we are going to be hampered a little bit by forests and hills, whichever way round we go, so we do have to be careful there. So let's get you guys over the river. And let's get you on to this hex. So on the next turn, you can move to there, puts you within 2 tiles. You can move to there, and you can move to there. Of course, that will use all of your movement and all of your movement, because you'll have both moved into a forest. But there's not an awful lot that we can do about that right now. Of course, we will have the option to pillage on their upgrades, if need be, but we'll see what happens. Of course, we will also move our archers forward as well. The more targets they have to fire at, the more difficult it is going to be for them to deal with the onslaught. Of course, we have to remember that there's hills in the way here, so we do have to be a little careful. Our settler's now finished, so I think what we'll do is get a trireme going. We can just send that out automated and have a look around. Now, the AI's recommended that that is a good hex to build on, and I don't disagree. So, I'm going to move my archers forwards here onto this hill. and I can see what they have in there. Obviously they have moved on to the hill, so that has used all of their ability to attack. I'm going to move all of my catapults forward now. Now, only one of them can set up on this turn because, of course, they have moved into the forest. I'm going to move these... I'm not going to move these guys into range just yet. There's very little point in doing it because they're not going to be able to capture the city. So, we'll see who Edinburgh decides to fire at. Still wants to go for peace. I'm going to refuse. Firing at the catapults. Bit of a pain, but not the end of the world. Didn't quite lose the catapult, but we probably will at this rate. We'll assume that they're going to attack that on the next turn anyway, because it's already damaged. So there's very little point me moving it out now, because if I move it out, it's not going to have got to attack, and therefore I won't be any better off. Before we do anything, though, we've got some culture to spend. So it would certainly be useful to do this, and because we might get some bonuses that we can use before we actually start the fight, though there probably isn't. Units gain 50% more military experience from combat. Well, that would certainly be useful. City with garrisons, happiness and culture. Yeah, so nothing there is too useful, really, but we will go for military tradition. That will certainly help us out a bit in a moment. So, I'm going to set up with this catapult, and we are going to bombard. Won't get the full damage from this catapult, of course, because it's already taken quite severe damage. We already set up with this catapult, so we can bombard, which will do significantly more damage. We can set this catapult up, and we can bombard, because it's one turn for each one. And we can fire again with our archers. There we go, that's quite a bit of damage all around. You're going to construct a pasture. Now the chances are they're going to go for that catapult. The city will most likely destroy it. They'll probably then take a shot with their archers and do damage elsewhere. Exactly what they have done. So we have lost a catapult, but it was to be expected. Friendly with Genghis Khan. I'm going to say yes for the time being. There's certainly no reason not to be. Obviously, he enjoys a bit of warmongering, so he's quite happy about that. Now, of course, if I'd have had my longbowmen by now, it'd be really good, because I could actually stay out of range of the city and fire at it, because they have a range of 3, which is quite frankly brilliant. But in the meantime, we are going to continue to bombard Edinburgh. So that was a nice bit of damage there. We did 37. We will have another shot here. That's a considerable amount. That's very close to death, so what I am going to do is start to bring my melee unit up. He might attack them directly, but at least if he attacks them, he will go after my catapult. Don't forget, I can still take the city, even with my scouts, because scouts still count as a melee unit. I don't think he's going to be able to destroy that catapult this turn. He can certainly do significant damage to it. Yeah, I didn't think he'd be able to quite destroy it, though. You want to give me 35 gold for embassy? Fine, yep, I'll take that. Hagia Sophia was built in a land far away. Wasn't really building it, so not too much of a problem. Now, we could take a promotion here for our catapult. I'm going to go for the insta-heal, because I'd prefer to keep it alive if possible. We will continue bombardment. We also have a promotion for this catapult, so what is this in? This is on plains and a river, so it is open terrain, so let's go for increased combat strength. And that should be enough to take Edinburgh right down. Now, we can't get it in one turn because we've got to cross over the hills, which is a little annoying. I might still take this catapult out on this turn. It's certainly a possibility. I should have moved it back, really. That was my own fault, really. What should we get going here? A stable would be good. It would give us some more production. And a circus would give us happiness. I'm going to go for the circus, and the reason for that is we're going to take a city in a moment, and that is going to cause us some happiness issues. Plus, we're also going to be setting up another city up here, so there's definitely a reason for doing that. I'm going to set this trireme to automated so it can go off and explore. It'll probably run straight into barbarians and get itself destroyed, but to be honest, I just can't be bothered to micromanage triremes. So let's go on to the next turn. Of course, they also have 2 of their caravans parked in here for safety, so we'll actually be pillaging 2 caravans as well, which will be quite nice. Unit needs orders. You guys have arrived, so we're going to settle York. There we go. And the first thing we are going to build here is probably a monument. Should we get the culture going, or should we get the food going? Let's get the culture going. We'll build a monument first. Let's go on to the next turn. It does look like it's going to take a long time, but things will start to speed up. So that will probably be that catapult gone. Yes, sadly it has. Little bit of a shame, but of course it is now reduced maintenance cost for units, so we'll get that back over time. It'll be our turn. We'll give this catapult a little bit more experience by bombarding the city again. And then we will go for a costly attack. It's still costly because we'll take a lot of damage, but at the same time, we will take Edinburgh. And that's basically it there. That's, well, exactly. That's the Celts actually out of the game. So we have an option. We could either annex the city or we could create a puppet. For a start, we're just going to create a puppet. As you can see, we already now have -6 happiness or 6 unhappiness, and that's just from a puppeted city. If it was an annexed city, we'd be losing even more. So we're going to leave things like that for the time being. Units need orders. We are going to start to go and have a look over here and see if we can deal with these barbarians. So we are going to take our combat units over there. We're going to withdraw our general back to London. We're also going to take our catapults back because we don't need those at the moment. And we're going to go on to our next turn. Obviously, oh, who have we met here? Isabella of Spain.
Soy Isabel de España.
I think that's the first time I've ever actually been up against the Spanish AI. Now, it looks like Austria's slipped down on the table. Actually, Austria and Spain are joint second at the moment. We've jumped up a little bit more now. As you can see, we're no longer on the bottom of the score. We are actually third. We've met Bismarck. Right, we're not third. We're third from bottom. We're actually fifth. But we've now met Bismarck. We have a lot more land now. Obviously, traipsing through Kathmandu is not going to be great for us. We want our warriors to heal. So we're going to move through with you guys. We're also going to move through with you guys. Now, what I'm actually going to do... Do you have an embarkation? You don't. If I move you into my land, you now have the embarkation promotion. So you can then get across the water. So what we might do is we might go across here, across the water, as opposed to annoying Kathmandu anymore. So I think that is what we will do. So let's go on to our next turn. 1 gold per turn for embassy. Yep, that's fine. Now, the reason they're not offering mutual embassies is because I haven't actually researched writing at the moment. So it isn't an option for me to have an embassy in their capital yet. But we will get there. My turn again, I believe. Yep, so let's get across the water. Just bring all of our combat units forward. And then we can go and have a look down on this piece of land and see what we can find down here. Probably just lots of barbarians, really. Looks like Austria's back on top. Oracle has been built in a land far away. Again, not a wonder that I was particularly aiming for. So, let's use our scouts to do what scouts do, which is scout. Let's get you up onto the land. Instantly, we have found barbarians, which isn't a good start. But we should be fairly safe for the time being in the forest. You need orders. Well, you could land there and you'll probably get attacked by them. But at least then they won't be attacking the archers. So that might work out. You guys are already at full health, which is quite surprising. Now, do I send you across as well? Don't really need to because we've got the spearmen. So I think I'm going to leave you here just to defend the city. Let's go on to the next turn. Let's have a look and see what the barbarians do. So as you can see now, there are only 7 people on the scoreboard because now the Celts have been wiped out, their score automatically gets set to 0. So we're already 5th of 8th. You can see we are starting to climb on the scoreboard. Barbarians don't seem to have done anything at all. We can now start constructing in London. Now we could go for the Hanging Gardens. That could be useful, but is there anything else that we can get a little bit more happiness out of? Well, stoneworks, we get another happiness from that, and we certainly would get a bit of extra production because we do have 1 stone there. So let's go for the stoneworks for the time being. Just trying to get out of this unhappiness because it does have quite a negative effect on production. We're going to use our archers to shoot the crap out of these barbarians. Now, my scouts can't really take them there, so I'm just going to put my scouts on to fortify. And these guys aren't going to be... Oh, we can actually... We would take a penalty for attacking from the sea, so I think I'm just going to land for now. If they want to run themselves into my pikemen or my spearmen, they can feel free. So we'll go over there and we'll build another pasture. Our great general has arrived, so let's put him on snooze. We don't need him to do anything. Our catapult has arrived, so we're going to put you on snooze. We don't need you to do anything. It's still going to be another 1 turn before we can do anything with Edinburgh. Well, we won't be able to actually get it to do anything while it is a puppet city, but making it an annexed city will give us some more unhappiness. Okay, so Genghis Khan already wants to go to war with Germany. Now, while I'd usually love to say yes, I don't actually know where Germany are at the moment, so there's very little... Oh, no, they're up here, actually. I know exactly where they are because I can see their embassy. So, we know where they are. Well, they've already got an academy. That's quite interesting. So we now have construction, which means we... Oh, we've got to wait for everybody else to finish their turn. Fine. We have Patakuti of the Incas, who we were up against in our last game. Now, we do have a unit promotion, which is our archers. Now, we're going to give them barrage, because we want an advantage against rough terrain, which is exactly where you guys are. And then we're going to go in with our spearmen. As you can see, there's an awful lot of barbarians over here. Can't upgrade these guys to longbowmen at the moment because they're not in friendly territory. So let's go for writing next, just so we can get embassies set up and running if possible. Edinburgh's building a watermill. As soon as we actually get our happiness up a little bit more, then we will consider turning it into an annexed city. So let's have another pasture here. And our cargo ship has finished whatever it was doing. Now, we could take some food to York, but I think what we're going to do is we'll continue to trade with Zurich so that we can get the food. When the stoneworks is finished, we'll build another cargo ship, and we can then use that to go and take food to York. Then we could possibly even think about building another settler and taking some of this land down here, but I think that's a little bit early given the fact that we are having some happiness issues. Again, some more culture will sort those problems out as well. We don't have a lot of cultural buildings at the moment. So, what have we got going on here? Quite a lot, actually. So, let's move you to here. Unfortunately, it was onto a hill, so it doesn't help. We're going to get you to fortify until healed. And we will go on to next turn. If they attack you, they're going to take quite a bit of damage. We can also see we've got some barbarian horsemen here as well. So, we could actually shoot at them. Possibly. You want to give me gold per turn for an embassy? Making a lot of money here, just people paying me for embassies and stuff. Okay, they have landed their horsemen, which isn't great. Now, they have a lot of movement, so we do have to be careful there. So, they are probably the unit that I should be concentrating on firing at the moment. Try and weaken them down. But I am going to take these guys out. The more of them I can kill, the better. We do get some culture from that as well. So London. We could also, though, build the Colosseum. We need the happiness. The happiness is more important than anything else for us at the moment. So let's go for the Colosseum. Straight on to the next turn, which I think is mainly going to be our archers getting trampled by barbarian horsemen. But we shall see what happens. So Chichen Itza has been built in a land far away, and just as I expected, the horsemen are attacking our archers. We're going to take a lot of damage from that. Well, not as much as I expected. I'm quite surprised. Now, how much damage could we do to those horsemen? Quite considerable amount of damage, actually, so let's do that. And then we can take you guys out. Still got to find the camp, which is actually up there. I'm not sure if that's the only camp. But we will be going to take that out as soon as possible. Because we can still get some experience for some of these units. Now, as soon as we've got our Colosseum built, we are going to make that second... Oh, he's attacking again. As soon as we have our Colosseum built, we are going to build that second cargo ship. Because the advantage of doing that means we can send food to York. York will grow more quickly. And that will allow us to build more Colosseums and happiness-generating buildings over there. So, you guys get a promotion. I think we will give you the range combat strength in open terrain. Let's give them both to you. And I'm going to move you over here and move you over here when you can get there. And that will give you the ability to fire at those guys, hopefully. Choose research. What are we going to go for next? What would be useful for us to have? I mean, we know a lot of these wonders have already started to get built, which is a bit of a pain. We could go for ironworking, which would give us... I think the Colossus may have already been built. Swordsman would certainly be nice to have. Let's keep our armies upgraded as much as possible. But I would also like to be able to get the... where is it? I've lost it. Saw it a moment ago. There we go. Yeah, philosophy. Because we'd like to get the National College. Because that would really help us with our science output. But I think we're going to go ironworking first. And then we'll queue up philosophy second. So let's do that and go on to the next turn. And see what these horsemen do. They're probably going to go across here and start to bug Edinburgh, to be honest. Or they're just going to sit there on their little island. No, they are going to go and bug Edinburgh. But they have made a very, very silly mistake here. Because they're now in the water. Which means I can ranged attack them from here. They can't fight back. And they will take a considerable amount of damage. Everybody else is just going to sit tight and heal up. You guys don't need to, of course. You might as well continue to explore, see what we can find, or more importantly, see who we can find. So I am slipping down the scoreboards again. But you can't take the score in this game too literally. You nearly always have a disadvantage against the AI, unless you're playing on the second highest difficulty, which is Chieftain, I think. Because the AI just have such a huge advantage. Those guys aren't going to get very far. I'm not worried about them anymore. You guys are going to heal up. You are healing already. So let's continue to explore with you guys. See what we find down here. And we'll send our soldiers up in this direction because we know that's where there is a barbarian camp. It's not to say that there isn't one down there, but at least we know that there is one. We can't actually attack these guys because they're in the water. So we're not going to attack them. We are just going to put them back on alert and go for the next turn. So we've already, in the course of this video, gone from 1 city to 3 cities. So we are certainly making progress, even if it's not brilliant progress. Okay, now we have the horsemen in our lands. Wow, Genghis Khan has a lot of money, is what we learnt from that. So, we're going to get Edinburgh to... Actually, we're not going to get Edinburgh to fire at them. We are going to get you guys to attack them because you can have the XP for the kill. And we get 12 culture. So, it's always better to try and finish a unit off with one of your units. And if it's a barbarian and some of your units are experience capped with barbarians, try and make sure you finish them off with a unit that isn't experience capped, if you can. It's better to give the experience to someone that needs it than have it wasted because nobody can use it. Choose production. We are now definitely going to build ourselves that cargo ship because we need it. We still have -1 happiness, which isn't great, but what can you do? And then we're going to start moving our units up towards that other barbarian camp. You guys are going to continue to run into barbarian camps. Okay, well, we know you're there. So, in fact, there's a change of plan. We're actually going to come down and deal with this one first. Okay, so you guys have now finished that. There isn't really anything else you could do here apart from build a mine, and that's kind of pointless. So what we're going to do is we'll take you up here and you can grab the truffles. Now, London's got 142 turns until next growth, which isn't brilliant. So let's have a quick look at the management and see how things are going. We don't need that locked in, so let us just put it on to... Let's just reset all the tiles and see what it gives us. Still 142 turns for growth. We don't have a lot of food here, unfortunately. Strangely enough, we are focusing on... Oh, I understand why. I was just thinking to myself, it's very strange that the AI is favouring production tiles over tiles that give us a lot of food, but the reason for that is because we have a happiness problem, and when you have a happiness problem, the last thing you want to do is have a lot of growth. However, we do have an unemployed citizen. I'm going to put that unemployed citizen into a field. We now go to 19 turns of growth, so that's a huge difference there. Or we could actually take them out and put them into production. Doesn't make an awful lot of difference to how long it's taking our ship to build, so we're going to leave them in food. And let's return to the map. And let's go for the next turn. And stuff is happening. It's very easy in a game like this to think, wow, turn 125, we're already a quarter of the way through the game and we've only taken out one city, but things start to increase exponentially. When you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 cities and they're all producing military units and you have the ability to start attacking on multiple fronts at the same time, it does become much more interesting. So we're going to move these guys down. They've got a lot of hills to move through, so it is going to take them quite a while. Don't really know what else I can do with my scouts in this direction, so I'm going to take my scouts up here to have a look what we've got. On to the next turn there. Still having happiness issues, so the sooner we can sort that out, the better. York is going to grow in another turn, which will be really good. Well, another 2 turns, because then we should get some increased production there. So we're meeting a lot of the city-states, and that's because we've got our trireme out. We can already have a look at the Incas and see that they have quite a lot of land already. So they seem to have a fair bit of space. They are sandwiched nicely in between some other city-states, though, which is kind of good for us. So we're going to continue to move you guys down. I'd like these guys to move down as well. I know they're not fully healed, but the quicker they can get down there, the better for us. And everybody else is kind of shuffling for position. And there's Genghis's trireme still exploring around. Of course, we are kind of friends at the moment, so that's not too much of an issue. Now, we do actually have money. So we could rush by something if we needed to. And as you can see, we have some horsemen here. And York has grown. So what I want to do, more importantly than anything at the moment, is to take our archers, which are already selected, which is why it was giving me the grief, and get them landed. I'm going to put them on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the horsemen can still possibly get to them, but I didn't want the archers too exposed out in the open there. Warriors, you can go back in here for now. And you can go on to alert. And let's see what these barbarians do now. Just before we do that, I'm just going to have a quick look at the technology tree, because one thing that we really do need to get, and we need to get as soon as possible, is the courthouse. Now, I can't remember where the courthouse is under. I think we have to go through civil service to get to it. Right, where's the courthouse? I'm missing it. I can never remember where anything is on this technology tree. Where are we? Okay, if in doubt, Civilopedia. Courthouse. Prerequisite text, mathematics. Okay. Which comes after writing, I think. Education, machinery, physics, steel, astronomy, acoustics, banking, printing, press, gunpowder. Have we already got it? Have I missed it? Mathematics. Oh, I do already have courthouse. Well, what do you know? There's a strange thing. Can't remember how much a courthouse costs, though. So what we could do, I'm going to give it a try anyway. We're going to annex the city here. Now, that does put our unhappiness up from -2 to -5. But hopefully... courthouse is 600. I don't quite have enough to buy the courthouse, which is a real pain. But I will on the next turn, so not going to worry too much about that. Leave it as it is. So we're going for the next turn. We've discovered a natural wonder, and that increases the happiness of the Empire, which helps a little bit. We get some food and faith if we work that, but I don't really think we're going to have any city up here to deal with that. Unit needs orders. You guys. Now you guys could attack for a major victory. I'm going to put you up on the hill. You can still defend from there. Keeping the high ground is probably the best way to do things. So let's just go on to the next turn. And let it finish as we wanted it to. And then we'll deal with the barbarians, who will probably attack. I don't know, it's pretty silly if that. Yeah, I thought they might go for the archers. I mean, they haven't done directly yet, but they could do. So, first thing we're going to do is going to go over to Edinburgh, and we are going to purchase a courthouse, which puts us down to only -1 unhappiness. And we have an extra city here that we can use, and it already has some nice upgrades kindly provided to us by the Celts. Now, unfortunately, we can't get to... Oh, we can get to these guys in a single turn. That's interesting, which means we will use our archers to soften them up. And worst case scenario, if they attack our archers, they're not going to do as much damage as they would have done. So we're going to send our pikemen in, our spearmen. Unfortunately, they couldn't go through the hills because that would have used all their movement. So it does mean that we are attacking uphill, which isn't great, but we've done a significant amount of damage to them. You guys are going to continue to explore. We know there's a barbarian camp there, and we found some ruins, but unfortunately there's pikemen on it, so that's not going to help an awful lot. We need to get you guys back as soon as possible. You guys are going to build a camp there, which will give us some extra gold. In fact, no, you're not. You're going to go there and you're going to build a farm, because we'd be better off with the food than the gold at this point. So let's have a quick look at the next turn. Might end up losing my scout here, because those pikemen can do an awful lot of damage. Although they would have to go over a hill, so we are safe there for the time being. But that's really good that we found another ruins that hasn't been used by anybody. We could even get a free tech or something from that, so that could be quite good for us. Yeah, we are being attacked by the horsemen, but they shouldn't really do a lot of damage to us. Animation's bugged. Now we know that the pikemen are already capped. Horseman tries to run away because they have the ability to move after attacking. Most cavalry units do. So we are going to attack with our archers, and that should give us a bit more XP. In fact, what are we on? 30 of 60. We're actually capped. We're XP capped with the archers, so won't worry about those too much. Start moving everybody back down again. And we can produce a building in London. Now, let's get the... is it worth going for the Hanging Gardens? Not sure if it necessarily is. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for the library and try and get a bit more science on the go. Now we do have another cargo ship. We're going to send that to York. We can do because we have a granary here. And that will mean that York has now gone from 44 turns to population growth to 8 turns for a population growth. So that's quite a bit of a difference. We're moving our scouts out of the way. And that's pretty much all I can do on this turn. So I think this video's gone on long enough. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. And on the next video, we will think about who we're going to start attacking next and try and mass ourselves a bit of a navy. We've pretty much dealt with most of the inland people. Now remember, it's only capitals that we need to take. So if we look at something like Berlin, Berlin is on the coast. So it'll be nice and easy to take Berlin from the sea. Can't actually see the Incan capital at the moment, which is strange. Yep, don't know where the Incan capital is, so they are probably inland. They may be a little bit more difficult to take out. So we are still going to have land units on the go, but we will be dealing with that in the next video. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're still enjoying the series, and I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye for now.